And it's okay to want more. But what's not okay is to stay with someone who has decided, for whatever reason, maybe because they're unwilling or maybe because they're not unable to give you more, to stay with that type of person and end up being unsatisfied is you choosing struggle life. And we do not want to choose struggle life. Hey friend, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about settling in your relationships. I'm going to be giving you 6 signs that if you are experiencing them within your relationship, chances are that you are settling within that relationship, and maybe it's time for you to reassess your positioning, whether you want to continue that relationship or how best to move forward. The first sign is that you no longer care to share your dreams or ambitions with him. This is a really big one because part of the reason why you join forces and get into a relationship is because 2 people are better than 1. And what that means is that being together allows you to strive, to grow, to have better ambitions, and to have the support necessary to reach your next level. So if you are with somebody, if you've partnered with somebody, if you're dating somebody and you don't care to tell them about the goals you have for your life, chances are that you are settling. It could be many reasons. One, because you don't feel that they are supportive of you, and you don't want to attach your life potentially permanently to somebody who doesn't want what's best for you, because what would be the point? You're pretty much diminishing your life to being with someone who is never going to be on your team at the level you need them to be. And another reason why you might not want to share your dreams and your ambitions and your goals with them might be because you don't care, because part of you, maybe because you're not ready to admit it yet, but there's a part of you that sees that you are not going to have a future with this person. There's no point of telling someone what's going to happen 10 years from now if they're not going to be present to see it happening. So either way, you are settling because that situation that you're in, the relationship that you're in with that person is not satisfying you, or is not something you see long-term enough for you to care to share the most important parts of your life. When you're with a person who matches your energy, you are going to want to tell them all about your dreams, about everything that's happening, because you want to share your vision with somebody who you care to share your life with. And when you share your vision with them, they will continue to add. They will give you perspectives that you never considered. They will even hold you accountable to your best self based on what you've told them. So if you can't tell him about the things that are important to you, pay attention, because you're probably settling. The second sign that you might be settling in your relationship is when you start to negotiate your non-negotiables. There are some things in our life that we know that sacrificing them would mean living a subpar life. These are your non-negotiables. It could be something like religion, personality disposition, ambition. There are so many different things. One thing about these non-negotiables is that if you were to sacrifice them, you would be minimizing your joy in your life. You would be settling at the highest level. So if you are with somebody and you know that there are things that are so important to you, important to your identity, important to your vision of yourself, and you begin to negotiate them, chances are that you are settling. You are making excuses for this person, maybe because you want to be with them so badly, but at the end of the day, it's a risky place to be, because eventually, if you end up with that person, your non-negotiables are not going to disappear. They're going to come back up. And then when you see that this person's not meeting it, you might end up resenting them for something that you should have taken more seriously, but you didn't. When you start to negotiate your non-negotiables, what can happen is that sometimes you start to feel scared to even voice your opinions, because you know that if you lay this thing down on the table, the reaction that you get might not be one that you want. But at the end of the day, that reaction, that truth that you get is going to do you the greatest favor ever. It's going to save you so much time, because as I said, your non-negotiables, if they mean that much to you, if they are the foundation of what you stand on and who you believe yourself to be and the way you want to live your life in the future, they're not going to disappear. So the sooner that you let that person know that, hey, this thing is a non-negotiable for me and I am not willing to sacrifice on it, and I'm letting you know that because it's something that maybe you don't do or maybe something that you do, you give them the opportunity to make the decision that's best for them. This is not about changing people, because at the end of the day, you really can't. But what you can do is provide them with all the information necessary to make a decision that's best for them and one that's best for you. Because if you settle on your non-negotiables, you are going to be so upset in life. You're going to be so unfulfilled. You're going to be settling for the rest of your life. And imagine if there's something that's so important to you, whatever it is, and you decide that for the rest of my life, 40, 50, 60 years from now, I am not going to experience this. Is it worth it? Probably not. So this is why, if you are negotiating your non-negotiables, if you're making excuses for somebody, if you're saying, well, maybe it's not that important to me, chances are you're settling for less than you deserve, less than you need, and less than you require in a relationship that's going to truly fulfill you. The third sign that you might be settling in your relationship is if you cannot tell your family and friends or the people closest to you what is going on in that relationship. This is one that I know I personally experienced, where I kept so many secrets. And it wasn't until the relationship ended that I was spilling the beans and telling them all of the stuff that was happening. And when I look back on it, part of the reason why we do this is because we know that what we're in is wrong. We know that we're settling. We know that we shouldn't be handling or dealing with the things that we're putting up with. And the moment we share that information with somebody who is close to us, they're going to force us to hold ourselves accountable to a level that we're not yet ready to hold ourselves accountable to. You already know that it's wrong. You already know that you're settling. You already know that you deserve more. But there's a part of you that's not yet ready to come to terms with that. And that is a big sign for you to look out for. I'm not here to say that you should tell everybody the ins and outs of your relationship. Of course, we're mature. There are things that we need to not tell people. But if there's somebody close to you that you share a lot with, and especially important things with, and you find that you no longer tell them, if they're asking how your relationship's going, you think of something that you want to tell them, and then you decide not to, and you say something like, oh, it's fine, there's nothing going on, it's great, chances are you're settling. If you know that by telling the people around you what's been going on with you, that they would be upset and want better for you, so you decide not to tell them, chances are that you know that you deserve better as well. It comes to a place where you have to be the one to finally make the decision that you want better for yourself as well. So even while you're not telling them, maybe you're not ready yet, start to take it in. Like, why am I not telling them? What is it about this situation that is making me keep secrets from the people in my life who I know would support me regardless? And should I continue to indulge in this situation? Because if I'm in a situation where I'm not fulfilled and the people who are closest to me, I'm keeping secrets from them, it starts to not only make that relationship you're in mediocre, but it also starts to diminish the other relationships that you have, because now you're not communicating with them at the level of openness that you once did. So you're starting to keep secrets and things like that. So in settling for that relationship and keeping those secrets, you're also ruining or potentially shifting unnecessarily a lot of other relationships around you. So the moment you see that there's a lot of things that you would usually tell and you're not telling, chances are that you are beginning to settle in your relationship. The fourth sign that you might be settling in your relationship is that you constantly feel the need to change him or suggest to him things that he can do differently. Sometimes as women, we struggle with seeing potential, and we see so much potential that we invest in something today, hoping that it will get to the place where we think will be ideal tomorrow. One of the litmus tests that I use to see if I am settling based on potential is that I ask myself the question, if he were to stay exactly how he is today in this moment, so this is personality wise, habits, all of that kind of stuff, would I be satisfied? And if the answer is no, and I'm still with that person, chances are you might be settling. And the reason why I say this is because potential is great, right? But there's two parts to that. One is the potential that you're seeing in someone, are they also seeing it in themselves? If you're seeing all the greatness that somebody could be and they don't care to indulge in that, then you're operating from this like fantasy world of hoping that they get to somewhere that they've shown you they have no intention to get to. And the second part is, do they care, right? Does this person actually care to get to this place that you see in them? Some people also will see it in themselves, but they'll be in no rush. And for you to attach your life to somebody in hopes that they get to a place that they haven't told you they're planning to get to, or a place that they're not striving to get to, or a place that they're not even motivated to get to, if they're very okay where they are and you end up being with them, chances are that you are going to end up settling. And on top of settling, you'll probably start to get to that place where you start to constantly suggest to them why they should be doing this, what they should be doing differently. You'll start to nag them. And if that person is self-aware, they will start to get the vibe that you're not satisfied with them being the way they are. And you don't even want to be with someone who feels that you're not happy with them. And you don't want to be with someone who you're not satisfied with either. So to stay in that type of relationship and say, oh, I see potential in them, I see that they can do this, and I know that if they get to that place, it would be great, without actual confirmation that they're headed in that direction, is you setting yourself up for the ultimate heartbreak and putting that person in a situation where they might start to lack confidence or feel insecure around you because you're trying to push them to be something that they don't care to or are not yet ready to be. It is important to note though that there is potential that you can see in someone, that attaching yourself to them and being in relationship with them would not be a form of settling. And that's the type of potential that you see someone actively heading towards without you being in the picture. You can meet someone who is on the path, and you can say, I see that this person has discipline, drive, they are self-motivated, and they're consistent at a level that I can be sure that if they continue on this path, they will get to where they want to be. And that drive and that ambition is what attracts you to them, right? Not one of those situations where you get into a relationship with somebody and then you start to try and mold them into being the ideal that you think they should be, or that would be best for you in a relationship with them. That's how you end up settling. So if the person's already ambitious, on their way, working towards a potential that they see in themselves, all good. But if you start to see a potential in somebody that they're not ready, able, or willing to see in themselves, and you decide to attach your life to that, chances are that you're going to have to settle. The fifth sign that you might be settling in your relationship is that you constantly compare your relationship to others. There is nothing wrong with seeing inspiration. There's nothing wrong with seeing how certain people act in their dynamics and saying, oh, that's something interesting. I like that. I look up to that. But if you are constantly comparing yourself to a point where you're even feeling envious of other people, chances are that you are settling in your relationship. Seeing people in relationships and constantly looking and being like, I wish my boyfriend could do that. Why aren't you like this? I saw this person do this. You should be more romantic. You should be more this. You are likely settling. And it's okay to want more. But what's not okay is to stay with someone who has decided, for whatever reason, maybe because they're unwilling or maybe because they're not unable to give you more, to stay with that type of person and end up being unsatisfied is you choosing struggle life. And we do not want to choose struggle life. If there are things that are important to you in a relationship, these are not even your non-negotiables, but just things that make you feel loved, seen, cared for, and heard, and the person you're with has decided that they have zero bandwidth or capacity to supply you with that, you need to step away from that relationship. You need to take a step back, because you're constantly going to see other people doing that. You'll probably get wrapped up into these like black love IG pages where people are showing you all of their relationships and saying stuff like, if he wanted to, sis, he could. You're going to get wrapped up into those. And the more you see it, the more you're going to continue to resent the person you're with because they're not living up to these expectations. But the thing is that if somebody shows you who they are, respect their truth and then move in what is best for you. Instead of, as I said, trying to mold someone into something that they're not, state your opinions. Let them know what you're feeling. And if they decide that they don't have anything in them to change or to become what you need from them, then maybe you are settling. And it's okay to come to that conclusion. What happens next is that you need to decide what you want to do with that information. If you're settling, are you ready to commit to this life of unfulfillment long term? If you are, more power to you. But if you're not, this becomes the moment that you need to make a decision. It's going to be hard conversations. And the thing is that when you have these conversations with your boyfriend, telling him that you're struggling and you're not satisfied and you feel like you're settling, be prepared that he might tell you some things that he feels like he's settling on to. And if you guys are in partnership and you both decide to commit to doing better, then great. And if not, then still great, because you deserve to be in relationship with somebody who pays attention to you, who considers you, who does the things that makes you happy, who wants your growth the same way you want theirs, and vice versa. They deserve to be with somebody who does the same. So finding that person who matches you, who's your partner and not your opponent or not your project, is the best way to be in a relationship where you're not settling. So I hope that this helps whoever's out there. I hope it gives you some stuff to think about. And if you're in a situation where you feel like you're settling, have the conversations and figure out what you need to do to get to a place of balance and equilibrium, instead of a place where you have to diminish yourself and your wants to stay in relationship. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a comment. And I will talk to you again soon.